right. So the question reads, the following financial data relates to the ordinary shares of Ndogi PLC. Right. First here we have the current market price. Okay, 15 kwacha. This, colleagues, is how much a share is going for this company, 15 kwacha. Dividend per share, 1 kwacha 15 way. This is how much the shareholders are receiving. Okay, remember dividends are paid to shareholders, right? Annual expected growth rate in dividends, 10%. This is the rate we're expecting the dividends to grow at. Okay. Next year, the dividend is going to grow by 10%. The other year, the dividend is going to grow by 10%. This is what we're expecting. Average market return, 15%. Colleagues, when we talk about the average market return, it's just saying that if you go to the Lusaka Securities Exchange and you want to invest in any company, on average, your return is going to be 15%. Risk-free rate of return. Okay, colleagues, risk-free rate, this is the interest rate that is attached to government securities. All right, government theoretically will always pay you. They won't fail to pay you. So if you invest in government securities, there's low risk. Okay, or there's no risk at all. That's why we're saying risk-free rate. Beta factor. Beta measures the risk of a share, how risky a share is. All right. The benchmark is for the betas, okay? Any beta above 1, it means those shares are risky. Okay. Any beta below 1, those shares are not risky. Colleagues, are we all okay with these definitions here? Okay. I'm praying that we're okay with those definitions, okay, colleagues? I've prayed that we are all okay with them. All right. So here we're calculating the cost of equity, the cost of equity financing, okay? Because remember, this equity is not for free, all right? Yes, you have to pay the shareholders dividends, all right? So we're going to calculate the cost of equity using the dividend growth model, okay? Just here's a okay. The dividend growth model calculates the expected return based on dividends and dividend growth. Okay, colleagues? The dividend growth model calculates the expected return to the investor. To the company, it's the cost of equity. To the investor, it's the expected return based on dividends and dividend growth. Okay, colleagues? So this is the formula for the dividend growth model here. Okay, KE, cost of equity, equals DO. DO is the current dividend. Okay, DO, current dividend. All right. Then some books you're going to see a D1. D1 is the expected dividend. Okay, and remember this formula, D1 equals DO 1 plus G. Okay. So sometimes this formula, you just might see a D1 over PO. So if you see a D1, just remember this D1, which is expected dividend, is the current dividend multiplied by the growth factor. PO, market price of the share. G is the growth rate, the dividends. All right. Yes. So cost of equity, KE equals DO 1 plus G over PO plus G. Okay, so colleagues, DO is here. This one is DO. Current market price, DO, this one here. Okay. Growth rate, 10% here. All right. Yeah, I think that's all that we need. Okay. Yes. DO 1.5 multiplied by 1 plus the growth rate. Growth rate is what is 10%. So 10% is being represented by 0.1 over PO market price, which is 15, plus the growth rate 0.1. Right. So order of operations, all right, start with the brackets 1 plus 0.1, 1.1. 1.1 times 1.5, you get 1.65. 1.65 divided by 15, we get 0.11. Okay. 0.11 plus 0.1, you get 0.21. Okay. Which gives us 21%. Okay. This is the return that is going to make shareholders satisfied. Any questions? Am I audible? Let me find out. Maybe I'm kicked out. Yes. Any questions? Madam Diana, we'll start with you. Wonderful. Madam Kathy, okay. Madam Yvonne, okay. Madam Carol, Madam Helen, Madam Lavette, Madam Luendo, okay. Mr. Kasono, okay. All right, yes. So, colleagues, remember, if a question comes for weighted average cost of capital, right, because you're only going to use one of these methods to calculate the cost of equity. So, if they just mention, especially if you see anything about dividends being mentioned, okay, and a dividend growth rate, then you're using this formula for the cost of equity. It's not going to be provided to you in the exams, unfortunately. So you might need to remember this formula. Okay. Yes. Then we're going to calculate the cost of equity using the capital asset pricing model. And a very important note, colleagues, remember these things forever, because in year 4, you find these things are coming back again. Team BBA and Team BAF. These same cost of equities, especially this capital asset pricing model, is coming back in 4th year. Yes. HRR, there's nothing. HRR, capital. Nah, those who are doing even marketing, you won't see capital asset pricing model. Why? So please remember this capital asset pricing model. Just remember this first, colleagues. The concept behind the capital asset pricing model is to get a higher return, you need to incur a high risk. Okay, last time, as I told you, the financial markets is like gambling, right? Gambling, if you want to win big, you have to bet big. Okay, and the risk is that big bet you are making. Once you put in that big bet, you take on that risk and you win, the profit, the returns are yours to enjoy. But if you want a low risk, you bet small and you also win small. Similarly, with the capital asset pricing model, if you want higher returns, you have to take on more risk. And this risk which we're talking about is this beta here. Okay, this beta measures systematic risk. Okay, as Professor Abueno would say, you might want to write this down. Okay, this measures systematic risk. Systematic risk is the risk that affects the whole stock market. It doesn't care whatever industry you're in, you all get affected. For example, COVID, that was a systematic risk. It affected all sectors: construction, energy, agriculture. All right. Even wars affect various sectors. All right. Yes. So it affects the whole market. Okay. It is not industry specific. Yes. So this is the formula for the capital asset pricing model. Okay. RF, risk-free rate. But colleagues, in life, is there anything that is actually risk-free? Is there anything in life that is actually risk-free? I'll let you ponder on that. Beta here. Okay. Yes, only salvation. Yes. If you tithe in the church, you'll get more returns. Those returns won't be lost, colleagues. Okay. Yes, your return for tithing here is over 200% because God gives more. You just put in 10%, you're getting 200%. Okay. Yes. So beta 1.6. Okay. RM, we said this average return on the market. Okay. Average market return, that is the RM. Okay, 15%. Okay, and we said this just gives you the average return that the companies are giving on their stock market. Okay. Yes, these are the three. These are the three things you need to be aware of. Risk-free rate was what, 6%? Yes, just these three things, colleagues. All right. So if a question comes for work and you just see beta, just know that you are using capital as a pricing model to get the cost of equity. Okay, if you just see a mention of beta, that should let you know that okay, I'm using capital asset, right? Capital asset pricing model. All right. Then this RM minus RF is what is called your equity premium, or is it risk premium? Other books will say risk premium. Okay. It's just telling you the extra return that you're getting for taking on risk. Okay. Equity premium just tells you the extra return you are getting when you take on a risk. Okay. You decide, no, I do not want to invest in government securities. I want more returns. So if you invest in shares for companies and corporate bonds for companies, you're going to get more returns than someone who's invested in treasury bills and government bonds. Isn't that correct, Mr. Kasono? Wouldn't you agree with that? If you choose to invest in company securities over government securities, you get more than the one who has invested in government securities. Yes. Most of us colleagues, we're all conservative. We do not want to take on a lot of risk. Okay. So the best investment for you is government securities, all right, or fixed deposits, right? Mm-hmm. Yes, yes. If you are, that's if you're a risk taker. Okay, a risk taker. Yes, you invest in things where you say, okay, this has a potential to be groundbreaking. Obviously, so like when Elon Musk brought in the electric cars, so those people were saying, yes, these electric cars are going to be groundbreaking. If when he brought SpaceX, it's going to be groundbreaking. So those people who invested there, okay, they're enjoying. Now, if someone wants to come in to the party late after those people are enjoying, this is where you're going to find now share prices are high and more expensive. Okay. Yes. Okay. So yeah, capital asset pricing model. Yes. So this is just how you do it. Okay. Risk rate 6%, equity beta 1.6, average market return 15%. Risk-free rate 6%. Remember, order over operations. 15 minus 6%, 9%. Okay. And this 9% multiplied by 1.6, that is 14.4%. Then 14.4% plus 6%, that is 20.4%. Any questions? Very easy, right, colleagues? Very, very easy. Isn't that right, Madam Sylvia? No, the formula, no. Yes. It would be unfair, colleagues. Is bring you these simple formulae, colleagues. Show. Mm. Mm, I think okay. The more questions you do, that's how the formula becomes second nature. Okay, that's how the formula becomes second nature. But maybe what you can do for now, okay, maybe you can have a piece of paper, then you can write down, or maybe I'll make that for you. Okay, I'll make that for you. I'll write. I'll make a document where the formulae you need to remember for this course. Okay, I write down those formulae so that at least you'll be okay with that. Yes. So, colleagues, don't waste your time taking these into decimals, okay? Because eventually you're going to bring it back to percentage, okay? Just keep them as percentages, all right? Yes.